Pyromaniac, a horror game made by a single developer that nails the vibe of an abandoned dark city. Something that QnA shamelessly stole 13 years before. But instead of Sweden and morphine, we got Cheshire and vodka. Now, what is Cheshire even popular for? Like, we got a castle, another castle, beer and... I thought beer was a German thing. Anyway, in all of this, we got this guy. This is Nikolas Rendl, a 20-year-old guy who is totally mentally stable. The game starts with Nikolas dropping his lighter and waking up on a bench like your average homeless hobo. And the game's intention is instantly very clear. We wake up somewhere, not knowing where we are, and we basically just want to get home. That reminds me of something. But hold on, I will go into the similarities with QnA later on. This game has its unique quirks though, and I want to delve into them. So, I will quickly go through the gameplay first. Spoiler warning though, if you want to see my first time playing this, then watch this. I also have it linked down in the description. The game is split up into 5 chapters. In the first chapter, we aimlessly run through the dark city until stumbling into the apartments. Here we get a jump scare, and we get to experience a weird scene where everything is dark and engulfed in smokes with people crying. In chapter 2 is where I will just cut off my music and just... Radovan Tipovsky, bro? I'm your biggest fan. Anyway, this chapter introduces us to more places, like the sewers, where we get our first weapon, as well as our first share of enemies, which are all looking like burned up husks of former humans. Surely the game title has nothing to do with it. Chapter 2 ends with a really well made boss fight, with the mechanic of only being able to damage his oxygen tank, and him literally teleporting every few seconds when the lights go out. Defeating him, we take his axe and go into chapter 3. This is by far the best and most fleshed out chapter of this game, with a cave section with Gary the Rock! As well as a parkour section that leads to us going to a hotel. Nikolas intends to sleep here for a night, but we are missing a keycard, so we venture into the nearby forest, find the keycard without any trouble, only to be kicked out of the forest by some slender dude and being followed by a crazy ass lady. After this, we are teleported back into an alley from chapter 1, which begins chapter 4. This chapter introduces a gun, which is used a lot. Now, the primary goal is to use a functioning car to drive home, but we go through an entire facility with 4 rooms, each containing a button to press that opens up this door, which leads to a 10-wave boss section. Completing it, we get to trace back to our car and drive off to our hometown. Here, we actually get a cool driving section with an absolute banger of a soundtrack, before crashing into a blockade. Due to the crash, our stamina and health is permanently shredded and we slowly walk through our hometown, finally approaching our home. Entering the apartment, you'll realize quickly that it's the same apartment as in the nightmare scenes that this game showed before. Upon entering our room, we find a tape lying on the table, and interacting with it starts the absolute lore dump. Now, if you want to listen to the entirety of it, here. But here is the gist of it.
Today is October 17th, 2009.
Nikolas explains that he has an urge to light stuff on fire, and that he used to go to the bunker in the forest to satisfy his urges before getting banned from there as some adults saw him. Then his dad got lung cancer, his mom cheated on him and pissed off, so dad took his life, and now Nikolas was all alone and got mad depressed. So he burns down the entire apartment and intends on killing himself with it. Upon hearing this, Nikolas panics and starts to see another version of himself in the mirror. And his instant reaction is fucking shooting him. Like, damn, bro. Now, this somehow opened up a passage for us to go through, which leads us to meeting this other version. Now, for some reason, this guy wants us to shake his hand, but respectfully, no. So, we have this final boss fight, and we defeat him by blowing off all the candles and damaging him bit by bit. And when it's all done, we get to decide if we want to shoot him or leave him. If we shoot him, we are dead. If we don't shoot, we live. Now, of course, I'll look at the elephant in the room here, okay? This game is heavily inspired by the works of Afraid of Monsters and QnA. No one would deny that, right? In fact, I noted some of the similarities with Cry of Fear. So let's just go through them. The game starts with us being lost and confused. Nikolas kinda gives Simon vibes. Doors work exactly like in Cry of Fear. The first big part in the game is a apartment section. The first enemy bursts out of a door in a cutscene. Nightmare sections. Enemies are tied to the story. The firefighter boss is literally Saw, but much better. Reloading doesn't keep the ammo. Injuries are reflected on the health bar. It's daylight when approaching the hometown. Monologue hallway. Listing them all like this actually makes it sound way worse than it actually is. And obviously, not everything is intended to be similar. More words on that from the developer himself later on. But before that, I'll go through some stuff that I just think are either good, unique, or very shit. Starting with the horror element of this game, which I think is really well made. The models represent a clear story factor and the game got some good scares. The sewer chase always scared me, even though it was just a dumbass fake out. This door jump scare literally sent me someplace else. This firefighter boss is freaking stressful. And why is he aura farming like that? This guy is spooky. And the nightmare sections have a good type of eeriness to them, especially when you read more into them. But more on that later. Now, on to the gameplay decisions. Why no quick select? Why is the number of Valve turns a RNG factor? Do you hate speedrunners? Why is the key spawn randomized in this huge forest area? Do you hate speedrunners? Jokes aside, this game has a Call of Duty health system, which I think it's pretty okay. And the combat system, at least the melee range one, it's a bit rough and wonky, but it's kind of easy when you get used to it. The respawn errors are harsh as fuck though. Dying to the first enemy and spawning all the way back here is definitely evil. Also, this game has 2 quick time events in the entire game. Okay, I may get slimed for this, but I really like them. They are specifically placed in segments where the character is also jump scared or in a high stress situation, which is as forcing as the quick time event tied to it. I think this is just the most perfect implementation of a quick time event.
It was a Jewish...
The car drive is also very unexpected and offers a good switch of pace before leading into a very slow walk through the city as we are injured from the crash. This is also a big up when it comes to immersion. The only nag I have here is that the boss fight at the end is just so unsatisfying to play with. Like, you have just 2 seconds of stamina and he's constantly on your ass. It's just no fun. When it comes to level design in this game, I would think it's pretty decent, except for this Roblox-ass parkour jump, bro. Tayo!
I don't know what the f was I thinking there, like, but in the update, I didn't remove it, but like, you actually have like a barrel on the the floor.
The only thing in this game that I will give an absolute 10 out of 10 without hesitation is the sound design or music in this game. It's so good. Like the dramatic setting of the boss fights. The absolute emptiness when exploring big areas, and the sound effect usage in this forest. Just remove this sound though. Every time I hear it, I think of this. Now, before getting into the story and secrets of the game, I was still having my fair share of questions in my head, as well as general stuff about this game, so I had a Q&A with the developer all around this game. I will show some bits right now, as well as later when telling the story, but the full interview with polished editing will be accessible to all my channel members. Thank you for being members, you deserve some extra content.
Of course, I think the character itself is like obvious that I wanted to make a character similar, you know. At the same time, it's something I wanted to do before I even knew Cry of Fear.
Firefighter boss, the first boss in your game. It's literally Saw, right? It's literally Saw.
It's actually fucking crazy how similar they are. Like, I swear to God, I did not intend to do that.
And what about the green big guy that you only see in the wave boss fight, like, mini section?
Oh.
They're huge, they're green.
Well, he was also in the sewers. So that was the first time.
Anyway, in all of this, we got this guy. Which streamer or YouTuber had the best playthrough?
Well, DRSM.
Let's go! Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's get to the story of this game. Considering that a big update is coming, some new stuff may be added to the story, but the main story stands. Again, to anyone watching this far, spoilers are ahead. Nikolas Rendl is a 20-year-old guy who suffers under pyromania, an impulse control disorder that makes it very hard to resist the impulse to start fires. This is actually a very real thing and has nothing to do with the likes of arson, because with pyromania, you don't start fires to gain anything from it. You do it to reduce your stress levels or gain arousal from it. Nikolas was keeping his urge in check by always going to a bunker and lighting stuff up in a safe environment. But ever since he got chased away by this adult, he had no place left to actually let out his impulses. And he was also getting mentally weaker with the death of his father and his mother leaving his family behind. So that's when he decided to put an end to it all. On the 17th of October 2009, he went on to set the apartment on fire, intending on killing himself with it to be free of his mental suffering. This is actually where the game begins. We somehow survived the fire and are now in a coma. This is the exact point where we awaken the game, right next to a bus stop. In the intro of the game, we can see a lighter slowly falling down, which is the one that Nikolas drops here on the floor. And this lighter is very important to Nikolas. It's not only our light source for the first half of the game, but it's also something that his dad left behind. It's also clear that Nikolas has lost a portion of his memories. And not only that, he has also lost the pyromania disorder that plagued him. Throughout the entire game, there isn't a single sign that Nikolas has any urge to actually light anything or do something with fire, even though we are constantly met with stress and anxiety. This is also the reason why Nikolas is so confused and oblivious to the fact that there's so much going on with fire. Be it the nightmare scenes, the crazy lady, or even all the enemies that seem to be burned. No, scratch that. These are not enemies, they are victims. A sweet detail that the game also shows in the end screen. And yes, this means that the firefighter boss is also a victim. Not only that, but he's also much more than that. Now this is where we will enter the theory zone, because this is not 100% confirmed, but it makes sense to me, okay? When we go into the apartment in the first chapter, we face the very first enemy, which we proceed to throw out of the window. Before even entering the apartment, we are able to see that there is only one shoe in the entranceway. The other shoe can be found in the alleyway from before, which is kind of a sign of urgency, something you'd probably have when your apartment goes on fire. Now when we pick up the keys from this victim, we can open the mailbox from his apartment, which reveals a handwritten letter from the daughter of this individual, stating how she misses her dad and hopes to see him again. She also writes that being alone must be boring. Now let me connect the dots for you. In the good ending of this game, we survive the coma and are able to see the grave of the person that saved us, a firefighter by the name of tayoDEV. We know that he saved us, as Nikolas was informed and stated how he won't let his sacrifice go to waste. So with that in mind, we now know that this firefighter boss is also just a depiction of this event. But wait, isn't it possible that the firefighter and the person in apartment 16 are actually the same person? In the letter from the daughter, she says, being alone must be boring. And we see a single candle on the grave, a single shoe in the apartment, and he was also seemingly the only one that came to our rescue. Now the person from apartment 16 was trying to push us out of the apartment, which could just be him trying to throw us out, but it could also be a sign of him wanting to get us out of a dire situation, seeing how he is already burned and there are burn marks in the apartment. Also, funnily enough, the name Tereska, or Teresa, is celebrated on the 15th of October in the Czech calendar, which makes this note and the death of the father even more sad, as he died 2 days later without ever seeing his daughter. Like, I swear they have to be the same. Pyromania even says this.
I found this place the most fitting, finishing the plan where it began.
Oh, also this guy has more importance than you might think. Remember when I said earlier that Nikolas has lost his memories and also his pyromania? This is the result. It's basically like he just split his persona, but the pyromania has manifested into this other version of himself. And throughout the entirety of the game, his presence is actually looming over us, without ever being seen. He forced us to live through a chunk of our memories in the nightmare scenes. A hint for this is the nightmare section in the bunker. When we get out, we have this long hallway and pyromania is just standing there. He's also dropping us the keycard for the hotel, only to bait us into the hotel that he lit on fire with the very lighter he took from us, because we dropped it at this jump. Pyromania is also the one that takes us from this place away, actively trying to make us remember what we are, and he's also the one that drives the car in front of us, as well as luring us all the way back home. And the second he realized that Nikolas doesn't want to accept him back, he goes full evil and tries to not kill us, but make us kill him. Which will result in us actually dying in the coma. The reason being that we can't just kill something off that is deeply rooted in Nikolas' life. So when we decide to let the Pyromania live and accepting and overpowering it, we go on to survive. So yes, this game is all in the head. The Pyromania we fight is a split personality that manifested into something more in our mind, and we had to fight it off in order to survive, whilst lying in the coma all game long. After waking up and realizing the gravity of it all, Nikolas just stands there, dropping the very lighter he used to burn this apartment down, with all the victims in his mind, screaming for him, looking absolutely haunted and missing half of their bodies and all being burned to the flesh. He thanks the one that saved his life one last time before the police arrive to arrest him for his crimes. And this is how the story ends. A bittersweet ending to this game. And I really hope this puts a new perspective on some of the Pyromaniac haters that I have seen. If you can, go on and try the new update when it comes out. Or catch me live when we replay the game and explore all the new things in the update. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time.